Hi everyone, Mike the MC, bringing you the self-care video. Separating yourself from toxic situations. Yes, this is a very powerful self-care video that's inspired by events that I've seen in life, how people are just in my community just thinking about what will happen if we do this in our group today, or if we did this next week. Can we have this person invited, and yada yada yada. And so just kind of really making the story into a general story, but bringing it back to you. The idea here is, if you get caught in drama, the gossiping, if you get caught in all those things, it can drain your energy in such a way that you don't even want to do work anymore, projects, don't even want to see your family, don't even want to go outside or do anything, because you're just so preoccupied, worried about the unknown, and it just takes away your joy of the day. And you think, oh well, why don't I just stay focused on what's happening on my media, my phone, right, and all these things. The thing is, the trouble, I would argue, you start looking for the phone, you start looking at your emails, you start looking at all these things repetitively because you're just worried about how people are responding. You're so worried about the response that you are reacting. You're not living in action. There's a big difference. When you can act in your life, when you can live a life that is full of action, that is much more productive, I would say, than one that is reactive. Because the reactive life is just always thinking, he said this, she said that, oh, that family's saying this, ooh, that political party's over on this side doing this project, and yada yada. Everyone's reacting. But the thing is, to separate from the noise, to live a life of action, that is where you become dangerous and powerful. People start to ask, what is that person doing behind the scenes? What is he or she up to? And you wonder, all right, how can you pair that with a religious perspective? And I think that is a very powerful way to live life. When you find a devotion that empowers you to separate yourself from the troubles of the world, to look about life from a very prayerful life, contemplative aspect, I think you start to look at life in the sense of joy, but also you start to see the connections of why things are happening. And so when you can separate yourself from drama, and you can pray for people that they find peace from the drama, that is how you become a peacemaker in that regard. And don't underestimate that. Do not underestimate the power of letting prayer work for you on the behalf of other people. And you are learning to trust in the greater powers in life. And you think, all right, now from my perspective, from the Catholic perspective, I want to think that our hearts can always be turned to God, right? But to do that, the heart must be inspired, must be full of fire, full of joy, full of light. But how do you bring that joy and light to someone's life when they're really down? All of a sudden they're hearing all this negative noise from people, the critics, everyone's trying to throw these things, and it's all worthless. It really is all worthless. And to find that realization, you have to take a step back and say, okay, maybe I don't want to be a part of that anymore. Maybe I need to clear up my mind. Maybe I need to take a step back and from the side and say, okay, you handle this. You all work with this project. Me, I just want to sit back, and I need a break right now because I am not progressing forward. I am stuck. I am worthless to anyone right now because I am so preoccupied with the worry. And when you catch yourself in time, and now you can step back, you can now save yourself and everybody else from your poor performance. So free yourself. Recognize when your performance is altered by the negative drama, and recognize that you can separate yourself from the noise and regain your strength. That is something to consider, and I hope you find the time to free yourself from drama. Things to consider. All right, everyone. Hope this one finds you well. Take care. Have a good one.